Hello students, welcome back to 2D video game design. Today we're going to talk about adding some audio to our game. So you'll notice that here in the assets section, I've created a folder called sound, and within sound I have some music and some sound effects. Now these files that I have here were located on the internet, so I can use these now. There's lots of free places that you can go to download stuff. This class has an assets folder that you are welcome to use, but also itch.io and videvo.com are good places for audio assets. So the first thing that I want to do is I am going to open up my menu screen. And let's just remind ourselves what this looks like. Okay, so it's just my arcade game. It's got a start and a quit button. So if I push start, it goes into the game. What I would like to do is have a clicking sound that happens whenever I click the button. So in my sound effects, I have this select sound. Sounds like this. And I just want that sound to play anytime I click a button. So let's go ahead and go into right here. I'm going to create an empty game object, and I'm going to call this sound effects. And within that, I'm going to create another game object that's an audio source. I'm going to parent that to sound effects. And I'm going to call this select noise. Now, right here you see I have the audio source and it's asking for the audio clip, and I just have to grab this, drag it in right there. So now I have to make it so the select noise plays whenever I click the button. So if you remember my scripts, I've got the menu controller script. And here I have the play game that's going to load the scene, and then I have the quit game that's going to quit the game. And what I want to do is just add the ability for this to play the sound. So right up here, I'm going to create, oops, didn't want that, audio sources. We're going to make a public audio source, and I'm just going to call this sound select. Control S to save, and then let's go back to Unity. And in my main menu, I've got the select sound right there. So I'm going to go over here to my sound effects. I'm just going to drag the select sound in there. Just kidding. What I'm actually going to do is get the select noise, the game object, and I'm going to drag it in there. Okay, so real quick for the select noise, I don't want this one to play when the game starts. I want it to play when I actually click. So I'm going to turn off the play on awake button. If you don't click this field right here, play on awake, if this is checked off, then as soon as the game starts, it's going to play that sound. That's not the effect that I'm looking for here. So let's go back into our script. So now I've got this audio source here. It's called select. And then all I have to do is when I say play game, I have a sound called select, and I'm going to play it. Let's go ahead and do it on the quit button too. Select.play. Control S to save, and now I should have buttons that make noise. So now you can see that when I click my interface buttons, they make a little bit of noise. So now that I've got my buttons making noise, let's go ahead and Control S to save the scene that I'm working on. And let's go into the other scene, the main game. Let's add some sound here. So the first thing that I want to add is a laser sound whenever I shoot. So just like the other one, I'm going to create a game object here. I'll call this one sound. Oop, yeah, that is what I wanted to do. Okay, and then I'm going to create audio here, the audio source. And I'm just gonna call this one Pew. Let's go ahead and parent Pew to sound. And what's the audio clip? Let's go to sound effects. And I want to use this retro laser here. There. So now let's go back to the scripts in the player controller. And I want to, let's create an audio section down here. Public audio source Pew. And actually we'll go ahead and write the code in there. Let's just not forget to set the audio source. So when I, right here, when I press the space bar, this is my bullet shooting. Right before we shoot the bullet, let's do pew.play. That. Control S to save, and then let's make sure that we go into the hero. Right here it's asking for the Pew sound, so let's go ahead and go into sound effects and grab this laser retro. Just kidding, again, let's grab the game object and put it into here. Okay, so this should work now. I should have a laser sound every time I shoot. Oh, so right there it made the laser sound as soon as the game started. So now I can shoot. Real quick, let's fix that. So let's go into the Pew game object and let's turn off play on awake. Okay, this time it didn't play because I have play on awake turned off, but now when I press spacebar, I do get that shooting noise. Okay, now let's go ahead and do one more thing. Let's add another audio source to make some background music. And we're gonna call this one background music. Okay, and again, let's parent that to the sound object. And if I go here into music, I've got time driving. And then over here, I did do time driving clipped. I used an audio editor online. If you look at the wave right here, it's got this silence at the end. And that's not good for looping. So I went here and I cut off the silence. And I used this website right here, audiomass.co. This is a really quick, free audio editor that works in a web browser. So this is really easy to use, and you can mess around with that. Anyway, I've got this time driving clip, so I'm going to put that in here. And then I actually don't need to code this one because I do want this one to play as soon as we start. And then I want it to loop. So since this is the background music, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down. So let's do this at about 50%. And then once I have that, I should now have background music that plays while I'm running my game.
Bye.